Brought to you by YourQuote, an app that makes you write and perform.
A girl walks into a poem and fills it with poetry. Like the first ray of sunlight piercing into my night room, caressing my eyelids to wake up. A girl walks into my room and fills it with love, with all her hugs, shape-shifting into my blanket. A girl walks into a blanket and fills it with the shores of her body, with her ocean reaching into mine. A girl walks into my ocean and fills it with fire. A girl walks into a poem and as the curtain calls, poetry moves between her lips as if she is performing love to me. A boy writes about this and calls it poetry. Thank you. So why don't you write a joke in a poem? And I said, yeah, sure. And then he asked me, so how are you going to insert yourself into one poem as in? And I'm like, oh, that's okay. Now I have a new poem for him. So in the history of poems, find the most dissociative of similes, like biryani with sauce. Yeah, I know, yuck. Yeah. Try biryani with sauce. And now combine that with a vivid imagery. The chicken marinating in sauce. I know, yuck. Now that's a joke ready in poetic terms. But involve more science than poetry so that it seems more credible, you see. Like a joke has three parts: premise, setup, punchline. Premise. Just because a premise sounds like a promise, it isn't one. Instead, it is always hollow for you to fill it up. Setup. This is where the joke is given a structure, so that you think you know where this is going. Just like what I'm doing with you guys right now. And then comes the bam. You thought I would say punchline. Just like you thought you had this figured out, but you didn't. Just like you had no idea that the Ram Masjid case will be still alive till now. Just like you had no idea about that football team who scored that last goal at the final minute to win the Premier League. Humans have punchlines within them, and you don't know when the next one is coming. But then the timing and delivery matters a lot. I would say a safe bet would be somewhere around 9 months. And then let it grow. You see, a joke has to flow from one to the other. It must look like two jokes had sex and gave birth to another. It must look like jokes are in control. It must look like jokes are funny. So that when a joke doesn't work, the family of that joke can compare it with the Sharma ji ka joke. Failing to see how some jokes are more facts, how some jokes are more warnings, #Trump. How some jokes are more pickup lines, how some jokes are more poetry. Now do you see how you are the greatest joke ever written by God? I would let that sink in. But then what would you say about the laugh? I mean, the reaction the joke creates. Some also like to call it religion. Is that to validate the writer? Because that's what we have been doing, creating a laugh at every joke ever born, assigning a gender to that joke, not looking at how this joke works in a spectrum. And as we started creating laughs for every joke, we forgot to exist without a laugh, which we created across centuries, trying to validate the one true comic we all call God, forgetting how at the end we all are a fucking joke. Thank you so much.